I get what you're thinking. XRP for $10,000 each coin. Unbelievably, Donald Trump's recent comments have created a lot of discussion over the future of XRP, a cryptocurrency that has already caused a stir in the financial community. Trump, who has never shied away from sharing his thoughts on cryptocurrency, has just confirmed something might result in a sharp decline in the price of XRP. What does this portend for the future of XRP? Given his hint of a huge shock that might send the cryptocurrency's value skyrocketing, how could this supply shock push it to new heights? Major financial institutions have already shown the significance of XRP in the field of international payments by using it to enable quicker and less expensive purchases. Given Trump's confirmation of a potential supply shock and the growing use of Ripple's technology, it may seem unrealistic to think that XRP will hit $10,000. But what if an unforeseen shift in the supply chain causes everything to alter and demand soars? Crypto enthusiasts, experts, and investors are keeping a careful eye on XRP's development. Its price may soon soar to previously unthinkable heights, according to many predictions. Let's examine the shock element and show how a Trump-planned event could lead XRP to jump from its present price to $10,000 per coin. Argues that defining a supply shock and its effects on the market is essential to understanding the factors that could lead to $10,000 XRP. A supply shock happens when the availability of an asset is suddenly and unexpectedly reduced, creating an imbalance between supply and demand. This may occur when demand for a good or currency stays the same but supply declines, or when XRP's supply is cut, either by Ripple's activities or by other forces. The price usually increases quickly, particularly in a delicate and erratic market like the Bitcoin market. This might have a huge effect. Financial institutions currently use XRP for quick lightning as a cheap way to conduct business internationally. Transactions are quick and inexpensive, but XRP's supply still plays a significant role in setting its price. The demand for the cryptocurrency must be high enough to handle the billions of XRP now in circulation. If regulators or Ripple decide to reduce the amount of XRP coins, supply limits may result. Consider a situation in which the growing demand for coins is not being met by the available supply. This might occur if escrow accounts are locked, or if the number of fresh tokens is restricted. The $10,000 per coin prediction would apply in this situation. Trump's comments bring an interesting new layer to this. His involvement in the discussion suggests that outside variables like political or regulatory measures may be having unanticipated effects on the market. Despite his troubled past in the financial industry, Trump's current emphasis on XRP supports the notion of a supply shock, whether he is implying policy changes or supporting digital currencies generally. The idea that XRP could experience a sudden shift in supply is beginning to gain momentum. The growing use of digital currencies by governments and financial institutions around the world is creating a perfect storm for a sharp price increase, as more banks and companies depend on Ripple's technology for speedier transactions. Increased effectiveness of payments. The $10,000 price point might seem unrealistic right now, but if the right conditions are met, such as a supply shock, institutional adoption, and increased demand, XRP's price might rise in a way reminiscent of previous boom periods for other cryptocurrencies, like Bitcoin. The question of what are the key elements that could trigger this shock emerges in light of the increasing consumer interest. We may now look into potential causes of the XRP decline. Changes in supply such as those brought about by Ripple's own actions, regulatory decisions, or shifts in the cryptocurrency market could result in XRP shortages. It's possible that when these things happen together, XRP's value may soar, driving it getting close to $110,000. It's important to look at the several reasons why Ripple might reduce supply in order to comprehend how an abrupt rise in supply could push XRP to $10,000. One important component in this equation is Ripple's control over the XRP supply. The quantity of XRP that Ripple owns is substantial, safely kept in escrow accounts, allowing the business to release a set quantity of XRP into circulation each month. This system was put in place to provide a steady and regulated supply of XRP. However, the overall circulating supply would drop if Ripple decided to distribute less XRP, either by burning some tokens or by prolonging the escrow term. This would result in an abrupt spike in demand for XRP, which would drive up its price because of a shortage of supply. Ripple's choice to burn XRP or postpone its delivery may be influenced by market conditions or a calculated attempt to increase its value, such as when demand outpaces supply. Especially now that there are more financial institutions, businesses take a chance. The technology underlying the global payment system offered by Ripple, the tokens would stay valuable over time if Ripple chooses to limit the amount of XRP tokens to prevent them from losing value over time. But investors and organizations looking to use Ripple's network would have to pay more for them. In addition to Ripple's potential actions, IT firms would have to fight for a small amount of XRP, which would raise its price. Regulation changes may play a significant role in causing a supply shock as cryptocurrencies gain traction. Central government regulators around the world are increasingly looking into digital assets. Clarity in regulations could influence the launch of XRP into the market, especially if governments take a more direct approach to manipulating digital currency transactions. If regulators choose to restrict the quantity of XRP that may be distributed, perhaps by enacting new rules that affect token holding or trading, there is a chance that the price of XRP would increase. May move forward, countries incorporating digital currencies or Ripple's blockchain technology into their financial infrastructure may result in a rise in demand for XRP. Furthermore, as more and more institutional investors show interest in cryptocurrencies, the dynamics of the entire cryptocurrency market may be at play. XRP could prove to be a useful resource for large financial institutions, find it to be a desirable alternative due to the stability and speed of its cross-border operations. But there's a chance that demand will outpace supply. If supply keeps driving up the price of XRP, as has happened in the past with Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies when institutional investors have gotten involved,